focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask the Expert, hosted by myself, Patty Farmer, and my co-host, Teresa Ream. We're so excited to have you here with us on season 2. And Teresa is going to introduce to you our guest this week. You're going to be really excited because she's going to be sharing with us something that we have been watching in the background, but even we aren't privy to everything. So we're excited to hear just as well as we are excited to share it with you. So Teresa.
Thank you, Patty. Yes, super excited. Today we'll be talking about how to grow your influence and be your own superstar with Joie Gharrity. Joie is the founder of Joie G 113. She is a brand consultant, author, live stream content creator, podcaster, and international speaker. She worked in Hollywood entertainment industry for 15 plus years at top companies, film, television, original web content, and branded entertainment. After returning to the Bay Area, Joie was inspired to launch Joie G 113. She empowers entrepreneur women to be their own superstars by shining a spotlight on their company brand in the marketplace with branding, marketing, and Superstar Women Entrepreneurs Media Network, the live stream destination by and for women entrepreneurs that elevate women to superstar status in the marketplace with live stream podcast shows. Her talent has been both recognized and picked up by a Hollywood-based agency, Electra Cast Media. Very exciting stuff, Joie, since we talked to you last, and can't wait to jump in.
Me too. I'm super excited. So I have to tell you, I'm going to jump in with a question that I want to know. And Teresa just mentioned it a little bit in your intro, but why the name change? Like, it's always good to know, like, because you are about branding too, right? And there's times that we rebrand, something changes, and we need to change a little things, just a few things that kind of more align and represent who we are now. And so I've been kind of watching that with you. So could you share with our audience a little bit about what brought about the change? What were some of the decision making you went through to decide to do it, and how you landed on the new name?
Sure. So the 113 component is actually in homage to two of the greatest entrepreneur women of all time, in my opinion. So that's followed me no matter what. It's Coco Chanel and Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn Monroe was one of the first women to have her own contract in Hollywood. So whatever people think about Marilyn, they don't realize how very, very sharp she was. And so those two women actually got together more spiritually, in essence, because Marilyn put Coco Chanel on the map here in the United States. When she was asked, what did she wear when she went to bed, she said, I only wear one thing, Chanel number 5. That literally catapulted Coco Chanel in a whole new category, which would be an accessory category that brands today is, a multi-billion-dollar business. So those are what I refer to as my Mickey Mouse years. I do training from Walt Disney days, and those are my Mickey Mouse years. Those go everywhere with me. The Joie G component really came about when I launched the Being Your Own Superstar. I'm talking about standing in your own spotlight. And then finally, ladies, I had a master numbers. She does numbers, run my numbers on my my company brand name. And branding, 113 branding was good, but Joie G 113 was like spectacular.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's a lot of thought into this.
Yes, yeah.
I like it too, because it's not just Joie, it's Joie G. It just sounds cool and hip, and kind of really, I feel, really reflects more of who you are. Right. So I think that, we attract, right, who we're looking for. And I think it kind of lets people know your essence and your vibe right up front. And if you can do that in a name, I think that really kind of reflects it. I mean, even the way you sign your name and everything kind of goes with it and stuff. So I just really had to know the answer. And I wanted the audience to know that answer. as well. And because I think that as entrepreneurs, a lot of times, whatever we started in our business, that could have been like 20 years ago for some people, they feel like because they started there, they had to stay there, right? And I think it's important to know that it's okay if your brand changes along with you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I believe in this number. I believe in numerology big time. I mean, I love numbers. Actually it's symbolic in all of my branding too. I think having a real story, and the Joie signature is actually symbolic too. It's a symbolic of being your own superstar and signing, right, as if you were a star. So every single little bit that we do out there, sisters and brothers, right, you want to be very symbolic, because human beings are very attracted to symbolism. And I think we've gotten a little away from that, except for texting and hashtags, right?
I think that is true. You know, one of the things that I think is so funny is, if anybody notices in my branding, Patty Farmer is all lowercase.
Oh,
So the P and F are larger in size, but they're lowercase. And there's a lot of things throughout my brand that are like that, even in my logo. But I'm going to tell you, still today, at least one person a week, I am not kidding, will send me a message to say, Patty, did you know that you put that out and you forgot to capitalize your name?
oh, that's interesting. So
I
you
mean,
did.
it cracks me up. Like, no, that's actually how I sign my name. If anybody looks at anything that I do, I sign my name that way. I never capitalize it. And I think that it is so funny. And
Getting you noticed, it's great.
it's just kind of funny, like when people say that.
Curiosity. Yeah, branding. Curiosity is great for branding, right?
Yes.
And then people say to me like, well, what did that? And one time when I was doing my, working on my brand and stuff, this girl said to me, just coincidence, she says, Patty, do you realize that the two words you say the most actually start with your initials? I'm like, what? She says, yes, you never say awesome or excellent. You always say phenomenal or fabulous. And those are like your initials. And I was like, wow. You know, it's just kind of for things that other people notice that you don't even notice, that actually intentional. A little bit more now though than later. So, but anyway, we could get sidetracked by that, but let's just kind of jump in, because it kind of really lands to what my first question is, which is, what's the number one thing that differentiates you from others in your industry?
I would say that my number one superpower is that I've really leaned on my past experiences. Like I don't leave it behind. I've taken it all with me. I've noticed a lot of entrepreneurs will leave their past behind. Like, not that it doesn't matter, but maybe there's some shame around it, or they've moved on. They don't want people to recognize that piece. And I don't think that, I think we should take it all with us. So I take my Hollywood with me every day. I mean, I earned my stripes, right? And I was mentored by some very high level mentors, very grateful for that. And so all these teachings that I'm putting out there, I feel is a part of my purpose, is that's why the divine had me there, is to bring it to the masses, right? And so I would say it would be one of my superpowers.
Yes, you know, but that's one thing that attracted me to you, because I could tell your value right out of the gate. You were bringing forth all this experience in your past, and it was all melded together. And then you were, through osmosis, giving it to us. It's really a beautiful thing, Joie.
Thank you, Teresa.
I think it is too. And I think that when people are looking for a mentor or someone to hire, they're not looking for perfect, right? Life is messy, and so is business. Business is messy sometimes in the middle too,
That's what
right?
makes it so great.
Right. I think it's what makes us interesting, and it's also what makes us relatable, right? You know, people have a hard time relating to somebody who's has this polished, perfect, you know, life or business. And I know on social media, people tend to try to do that, but I love to hang around more with somebody who was messy, as long as they had integrity and they were loyal. Those are kind of my core values. But as long as they had those traits, messy can be really interesting. And not only that, but I think messy is kind of gets us, it's part of the meandering trail. That messiness is what gets us to really who we're going to serve and how we're going to do it and stuff though. So I really love bringing your story. Everybody has a story, right? You know, and I always want to hear the story. The story is the most interesting part, I think, of who we are, and it's what differentiates us. Nobody else has our story, right?
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, I feel like we should be very proud of every single step that we've taken, right? But I will meet people and they're like, yeah, but I'm this now, but I used to be this, I was just like, but that's part of your fabric. If you weren't a nurse first, if you didn't work for a major brand, let's say, Staples, whatever it is, right? There was actual purpose and lessons there that you needed to learn first before you could make the next step.
Oh,
And
yes. Yes.
right. And
I was,
timing's our best friend. I think timing's our
yes.
best friend.
I was, when I first started my business, we didn't make any money for years. And so I was a waitress at a high-end country club. And I still train my employees to what I was trained from Deanna, my supervisor, because she was impeccable. And the things she trains, I carry with me today, 40 years later. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to bring it all. Mine just happens to have a little bit of this, like, sparkle and glamour to it.
Oh,
But
gosh,
it's
yes.
just studios. Studios are just big brands. They're just businesses, they just have this kind of different staple. But with that also comes different type of lessons. And one in particular was that I really, really focus on now is when you work for a studio, you're still leveraging their influence. You're not building your own influence. They look down upon that, right? What brand wouldn't? Coca-Cola doesn't want you to be bigger than Coca-Cola. That's just the way it works, right? And so part of my life purpose was to learn the shadows and learn how to step out of the shadows, which is still, it's a daily exercise for me every single day to do that. Because I think actually culturally, right, we are taught very young to stay quieter, right? Stay in the shadows more, right? And so this is part of my purpose. So the signature, putting my name in there, putting myself on the cover of my book, all of this took courage. All of it takes courage. There's not 1 minute of one day where I'm just like, yeah, I got this. No, absolutely not, right? But that's part of the purpose. And so I had to have high-level mentors early, right? I believe that's why the divine dropped me in there, because they were quite a bit older than me too, so that I could watch them, so that I could now, as I'm stepping into my own spotlight, I can mimic more of what they were teaching me then. This young 20-something girl, right? 30, and even in your late 30s and early 40s, you're still grappling with who you are, right?
But it gave you the ability to have space to step into it and make it yours too, right? And that is really a good thing too. We learn, like I always like to say, a lot of times people think that when they have mentors that they're supposed to, emulate them and be who they are. And I really believe that when you have mentors, the biggest gift is to learn how to think like they think. Not actually be them, but think like they think. That's the lesson to take in and make it yours. And it's obvious you have done that. So that's really a great thing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, all my mentors, I mean, as busy as they were, I mean, they're running major production companies and studios, right? Huge readers. Even when they were shooting movies. Like that's like an 18-hour day. It's a lot, right? Still reading.
Some of us relax by the reading,
Like learning, constant learners. They really embedded that in me when I was young. They were like, be a constant learner.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
They say, right? So Joie, what would you say if we're thinking about the value that you bring to the marketplace, and we know you bring a lot, what would 3 to 5 words stand out for you and or the people you serve if they were going to describe the value that you bring to the marketplace? 3 to 5 words. Try not to do phrases. It's hard. Just 3 to 5 words.
Sure. I would say one word would be courage, right? Because I'm really encouraging people to step in their spotlight, right? I would say also to another word would be endurance. I learned that in Hollywood. There's going to be busts and booms left and right, and you just got to sit through that, right? And then I would say another word would be love. I have a whole campaign around how if you want more of what you want, just grow your love capacity. It doesn't, you don't have to hug people. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with, really being very generous with growing your capacity to take in a lot of love, right? Because that's courage. It takes a lot of courage to do that, right? And then with that, then you can give a lot of love.
Yes. And the word
Absolutely.
stands out to me so much. I'm rereading Force versus Power. And there's calibrations to everything. Like Mother Teresa would set it at 500. Jesus would set it at 1,000. Those are your really high biggies right there. But what starts you off to get you in the 200s for a higher mentality is the 200 at courage. Courage is 200 points. And then that leaps you in to start building more points to make you that person, that great person. So, and then the love. So you really have taught both of those in all of our classes, the courage and the love. And I think you can get through almost anything with those two.
Yeah, I tell you, for a long time, I didn't think love had anything to do with anything. I didn't. Not for 1 second. You couldn't have told me it had anything to do with success.
Now, I love your story in your book. It goes well into
Yeah.
that.
Yes. I was just like, they say this in my charts, my master charts. I have a star over my head. That's a way of explaining things, right? But I think it really had to do with, I started meditating young, right? Very young, because my brother started meditating because he got sick. He was diagnosed with cancer. And so the whole family jumped into meditation like that. And let me tell you, my dad can meditate. I was like, who knew this man can meditate? So the whole family was like sitting in the backyard, like meditating.
That's awesome.
It is very
because we were
awesome.
so fearful for my brother was gonna pass, and but what ended up happening is we were meditating, and as his prognosis got deeper and deeper and deeper and worse and worse and worse, and he started heading into the operation component of it. We upped our meditations, and we got even stronger. And when the doctor came out from the operation, they said they couldn't find one cancer cell, not one. And before that, it had spread. And so the power of the meditation, which is really love, right? That was indoctrinated in me early. However, once I got going deeper into my career, I let that go, right? Because I wasn't connecting success with love. I was connecting hard work, drive, curiosity, being a smart, sharp, right? Reader, right? And so this kind of coming around again, right? And then the download from the divine of saying, no, that's really why we had you there. That was the real reason. And I was just like, oh, okay. And now it makes total sense. But community doesn't teach that. They don't teach it. They don't say success has anything to do with love. No. And it does. It has everything to do
It's
with
all fear-based. It's fear-based. And so the connection to love is so important.
it is.
So very important. So very important. So Joie, kind of to shift a little bit.
Sure.
What would you say is one of your favorite, and I remember when we used to talk about this a lot. So what is one of your favorite business tips or a resource? You can choose a business tip or resource. If you have one of each, that's fine too.
I'm going to say resource right now, because I feel like the backbone of the confidence of building a business empire, you have to be really uber detailed and organized. I just feel so strongly about that right now. And so I would say a resource, which I love, is Trello. I live in Trello all day, pretty much, right? It's a way of constantly keeping everything organized, which keeps my confidence level up. When you're in the weeds and you're looking for things, or you're trying to grapple at things. I just finished reading a book in Kristen Beaver's club, which you both are part of. it was so interesting that they talked about this, about how when you're off course and you're looking for something, it takes you 30 minutes to get back on task again. 30 minutes. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of minutes in a day, right? And if you do that 30 times 30 times 30, that could be half your day. So I'm going to say Trello.
That's a really a good one. I've had to learn to batch my time, you know, I really had to learn to use it to batch my time, because really think about how many times we get distracted by our cell phone or a text or a notification, right? And then you go there and then you got to get back into it and stuff. So yes, I agree with you 100%. So Joey, what do you love about your business right now? Like right now, where you are, what do you love about it and what's next?
So what I love about my business right now is, while I was doing my daily habits this morning, is the dots were connecting for me of, you know, why my the Superstar Women Entrepreneurs Media Network is in full bloom right now. It makes sense, right? It's branding, it's marketing, it's media, right? It's live stream, right? It's everything I come from the Hollywood background, and then everything I've been doing, right? In essence, it really is a startup, in essence, which I like startups. I've done a few, and I think they're really exciting. So I'm very excited about this. I love the live stream arena. I've been in the live stream arena for 3 years now, and I've really jumped into the arena, and I met quite a few live streamers and podcasters, and I just like this arena. I truly believe that we and us are going to become the new reality, real stars. And so my gift, my purpose is, when I'm sitting there at these events, and it's very male dominated still, right? Because it's technology based. And women, not all, but sometimes women don't like the tech part of things, right? So what do men like? They like the microphones. They like all the technology, right? So this last churn at PodFest 2023 in January, I left there and I was like, yeah, no, we're not going to let this be Hollywood again, right? Male dominated, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to bring a stream of women, entrepreneur women. I'm going to teach them my system. I've been working on my system for 3 years. I'm teaching my system. I'm going to bring them into the fold, and they're going to become live streamers. And we're going to build this huge network of live streaming by and for women entrepreneurs. And so that's what I'm really excited about.
I love that. I think that's really great. I know I love PodFest. I'm excited about going again. That is going to be fabulous. And I think you're right. It has been a male dominated space for a long time. But I have to tell you, some of the greatest podcasters and live streamers I know are women. So I think watch out, because we're coming, and we're coming in fast.
Yeah.
I have to say this, Joey, you know, it's the superstar, right? That's what you tout, the superstar, but you're not so interested in making yourself the main superstar, which is amazing. You're bringing all these women with you on this journey, and I see them, I listen to them, and they just get better and better. And so I really admire that about you.
Thank you. I pray about it. This is all about the divine. I ask who would be a good fit, and it gets highlighted for me. I feel like that's something that, that Hollywood taught me too, right? My first mentor, movie director. Being a movie director, people think that the movie director is the most powerful person on the set. And that's not true. The most powerful person on the set's actually the director of photography, right? Because he has the crew, and if he takes the camera, you don't get to shoot. If you don't shoot, then it's over, right? But my first mentor, he taught me really how it's so inclusive. It's so inclusive. That's why midway during when shooting, the director typically throws a huge party for the crew out of his own pocket a lot of times, or her own pocket. It's his way of saying, hey, nothing would be happening without you, right? And then a lot of times, until more recently, the directors weren't really projected out there. They were usually had more of a back seat, right? But now they're like chefs, right? They're becoming like rock stars, right? Kind of thing. And it should be like that, right? But I feel like I'm just so very, very blessed that these women are courageously jumping into an arena, learning the technology, and then putting themselves out there, and for face recognition, for more fame. I mean, that takes courage, right? And the amount of tangibles that they're sharing, that's another reason too, is I want women entrepreneurs to have a place to go where they're not like cherry picking all the time, right? So it's more focused, so they can go in and they're just like, so because a lot of doors can close because of the ticking clock, right? And I want to cut through that. So that's a big part of my purpose.
I love that. So Joie, how can our audience connect with you? So what's your website and what social media platform are you the most active on?
Sure. So they can connect. My website is Joie G, the number 113.com. And then they can find me on Facebook under Joie Gharrity, and LinkedIn and Insta. And I'd love for people to support women entrepreneurs and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Superstar Women Entrepreneurs Media Network. That's
fabulous. So now it's time for our lightning round. So over to you, Teresa.
Yes, it is, Patty. And this is where we ask our guests quick questions that she answers in about 15 seconds with her pithy answers. So let's start. What I'd like to know is, what is on your bucket list that you haven't got to yet?
Nashville, and I'm going to be there in August.
Oh, well, you're going to just check that one off.
Old Opera has always been on my list, and so my husband's taking me to Nashville. So.
Oh, nice. Well, I'd ask you more about it, but we have 15 seconds. So tell me, you talked about Trello, but tell me what is one of your other go-to productivity hacks?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to just say a basic notebook. This keeps me on track. I have a system that I use. And so just a basic notebook and a beautiful pen.
Yes, right? You have to have the good pen.
Sometimes it's really nice to help creativity when you just get to have this blank page and you have a pen and you just get to do that. Everything doesn't have to be an app.
Yes, that's true. Okay, for the last one, give us a quick tip on your live streaming. What's a quick live streaming tip you could give us?
That you want to be organized again. So you want to look at when you're live streaming in acts, act 1, act 2, and act 3, make sure there's a call to action, make sure there's a $sign behind it, or don't bother, in my opinion. And just remember that you are the star of your own show. So be authentic and be that.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
On that last one, though, I want to know, Joie. So speaking of that, earlier we asked you about resource, but since that was the lightning round question that Teresa shared, what is the live stream platform that you really like? There's so many of them, right? Sure. What's your fave?
Be Live.
Be Live?
Yeah, Be Live is the only one I use. It's the one I teach my talent. I'm very close with the founders over there. And they were one of the first to have an agreement with with Facebook. So
yes,
it's
they were. No, that's really, really good. Thank you so much, Joie. We appreciate you being here with us. To the audience, you're going to want to make sure you connect with Joie. She's given us some real value today, writer downers, as I like to call them. So make sure you connect with her. Make sure you connect with Teresa and I too, in case you want to tell us some ahas that you might have had. We love hearing them. And also we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Professional Women's Network of Monterey. You can find out more about them at pwnmonterey.org. Thank you so much for being here with us on the Ask the Expert. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
You gotta focus Focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah.